Hello, and welcome to my English channel. Today's news article will be about electric vehicles being produced in Japan and the Japanese companies' attempt to catch up with other countries. Please listen carefully. Try to understand as much as you can. Let's begin. Japan's automakers race to make up lost ground on EVs. As pressure to decarbonize causes the global transition to electric vehicles to gather pace, Japan's auto manufacturers find themselves at a crossroads. With the rise of protectionism and more stringent environmental standards jeopardizing Japanese manufacturers' competitive edge, government and industry must now come together to plot out a roadmap for the future of Japan's automotive industry. Global EV sales treble in 2 years. The sheer speed at which the global electric vehicle market has grown has sent shockwaves through Japan's auto industry. According to International Energy Agency figures, global drivers bought 6.6 million electric vehicles in 2021, 8.6% of all vehicles sold. A threefold increase over 2019. The growth has been particularly pronounced in China, where, according to the China Association of Automotive Manufacturers, annual sales of new energy vehicles, electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, and fuel cell vehicles exceeded 3.5 million units in 2021. In 2022, this figure looks set to surpass 5 million, which is equivalent to the total number of new vehicles sold in Japan each year. At the end of last year, Toyota CEO Toyoda Akio responded to the swift transition to electric vehicles by announcing a sales target of 3.5 million electric vehicles annually by 2030. However, compared with the likes of Tesla, which has spent the last 10 years investing heavily in proprietary semiconductors and batteries and ramped up global production capacity at its hubs in the United States, California and Texas, China, Shanghai, and Germany, Greater Berlin, to over 1 million vehicles per year. China's DYB, which sold 590,000 new energy vehicles in 2021, and Germany's Volkswagen, which has responded to Tesla's onslaught by ramping up production in Germany and China. The action taken by Japan's car manufacturers, who have long enjoyed a competitive advantage, may only be described as lagging, including with regard to the establishment of a domestic parts supply chain. In this article, I will consider how this state of affairs came about and ask what challenges are faced by Japan's automotive industry. U.S., European, and Chinese manufacturers reach same conclusion. The rapid growth in electric vehicle production in the early 2020s can be attributed to the individual circumstances of the United States, Europe, and China. In its home U.S. market, Tesla's ramping up of EV production has clearly been a strong driver of overall production growth. In 2012, the talented entrepreneur and South African immigrant Elon Musk declared his vision for the establishment of sustainable energy infrastructure and announced Tesla's first mass-produced electric vehicle, the Tesla S. Along with solar and other infrastructure capable of supplying the Tesla fleet with renewably generated electricity, Tesla has released 4 models, the S, X, 3, and Y, in the space of 10 years, and grown its brand to rival what are regarded to be the top 3 premium brands in the United States: Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Toyota's Lexus. Tesla has acted as a catalyst for the growth of electric vehicle ownership in the United States. Starting with California, the U.S. Big Three, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, responded by ramping up their own EV production capacity in accordance with the Joe Biden administration's focus on climate change. China, for its part, in 2015 announced Made in China 2025, a long-term industrial policy that aims to turn China into an auto manufacturing powerhouse by 2025. The policy sets a target expected to be achieved in 2022 of making 20% of all new car sales electric vehicles and implementing policies that favored wholly domestic manufacturers. The Chinese government successfully established a comprehensive supply chain for batteries and other electric vehicle components. At one point, the Chinese market became overcrowded with literally hundreds of EV manufacturers vying for business, leading to a phased reduction of subsidies in recent years and creating concerns that EVs would lose popularity. But rapid growth in changing infrastructure ensured that China's EV policy got off the ground. In Europe, stringent EU-led emissions standards meant the industry's focus was diesel technology until the mid-2010s. But the emergence in 2015 of the colossal Dieselgate emissions cheating scandal, which started with Volkswagen, caused work on EV technology, which had until then progressed in the shadow of diesel development, to accelerate. Manufacturing capacity continues to grow rapidly, with Germany leading the trend. European manufacturers, particularly German ones, have traditionally been highly dependent on the Chinese market, and the European response to the speed of the growth of China's EV market was also a factor. Japan, late to the party. Let us now consider why Japanese auto manufacturers were late to join the rapid global transition to electric vehicles. In 2020, the number of Japanese manufactured electric vehicles, including plug-in hybrids, sold worldwide was just under 120,000. This represents the total number for Nissan and Toyota combined. Japanese manufacturers were certainly not late in launching electric cars. Mitsubishi pioneered electric cars in Japan in 2009 with the i-MiEV, while Nissan released the Leaf in 2010 and Toyota released the RAV4 EV, a mid-sized SUV, in 2012. It is therefore not necessarily a case of Japanese manufacturers being late to the party. Rather, Japanese manufacturers never ramped up their EV production capacity. This can be attributed to many decades spent building expertise in internal combustion engine manufacture, at which Japanese automakers excel. Combined with the considerable competitiveness of the Prius, launched by Toyota in 1997, and other hybrid vehicles. In addition, hybrid production plants have now been fully depreciated, making hybrids a leading source of revenue for Japanese auto manufacturers, and it therefore cannot be denied that enormous cost associated with the development of a brand new platform have made them hesitant to invest in new technology that would take a long time to turn a profit. A phenomenon similar to what Harvard lecturer Clayton Christensen dubbed the innovator's dilemma. Furthermore, within Japan, manufacturers remain weary about EVs due to the challenges of establishing charging infrastructure, safety and cost issues associated with lithium-ion batteries, range issues, and issues related to the rare earths and conflict minerals from Africa and elsewhere that are required to build the motors and batteries that are in the chief EV components. With this situation exasperated by delays in obtaining information on overseas markets due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Japanese manufacturers may have misread the rapid growth of the EV market seen in countries like the United States and China. What is more, while there is some variation between manufacturers, the history of Japan's automotive industry means that the industry still tends to be vertically integrated, with trade largely kept within corporate group silos, making the prospect of restructuring a component supply chain optimized for legacy technology extremely cost-intensive. Granted, it would have been difficult for manufacturers to establish a component supply or make other changes until they were sure that the EV market has indeed taken off. How well did you understand? There are many challenges coming for the Japanese automotive manufacturers. How do you think they will respond? And do you think that in the future they will become a force in the electric vehicle market? Thank you for listening. If you liked the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel to help this channel grow. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep studying.